beautiful lovelies, it's Emmy. How are you? It's so good to see you and welcome back. And if you're celebrating it, Merry Christmas. Today I'm going to be taking bean juice, the water that comes in canned beans, and turning it into a little light cookie-like confection that's very, very similar to meringue. This is also known as Aquafaba, which is the Italian version of aqua, water, faba, bean water. We're going to whip this up into beautiful, light, fluffy confection that is very, very similar to meringue, which is traditionally made out of egg whites. This bean juice, which is full of proteins and starch, whips up and has that same quality as egg whites at retaining little tiny bubbles, or essentially becoming a very nice, lovely, white, fluffy foam. We're going to sweeten it, flavor it with a little bit of vanilla, and then essentially dry it out in the oven so we get a light, crunchy, airy cookie. And I've been wanting to try this for a long time now. Many people have requested it through the years. Emmy, have you tried the Aquafaba yet? And I have not. And today I'm going to attempt to make them into little cute snowmen because 'tis the season. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. So over here, I've got my stand mixer fitted with a whisk whippy attachment because we want to aerate the bean juice. So the recipe inspiration for today comes from Food 52, and I will put a link to that down below. So first we need some bean water or aquafaba. Now, you can use any beans you like. You can use black beans, kidney beans, cannelli beans, but the flavor and the color of the resulting liquid will affect your final product. So I'm going to be using chickpeas or garbanzo beans. So I'm going to use 1 can. This is a 13-ounce container. Any kind of canned pre-cooked beans will work. You can also use the water from beans that you cook yourself. Although I've read that water tends to be a little bit runnier, so you might have to kind of reduce it down so it's a little bit thicker. So I love the fact that you're also using a material that otherwise would just go down the drain. We are actually going to be using that liquid, that nice starchy liquid, the bean water. And I'm just going to dump that into this pot or bowl. Get all those lovely starches, anything that's stuck to the bottom. Of course, we're going to use these beans. We can make a stew out of this. We can make hummus, all kinds of lovely things. And for this recipe, I want 3/4 of a cup of the aquafaba, and we want 3/4 of a cup of bean juice. So I have about a 1/2 cup. So I'm going to use a little bit more. So I'm going to open another container of beans and pour in the rest to make this 3/4 of a cup. Perfect. Okay. I love garbanzo beans. Chickpeas. So good. This, by the way, is the same stand mixer in an episode of when I took apples and made them into marshmallows. It was acting cranky and the head was all wobbly, but thanks to Rich, this machine is back to its original form. Rich took this all apart, he re-greased it, and he tightened everything up. So happy that I could keep my old machine alive and well and happy and performing as it should be, because these machines should last, right? This should last my entire life, and I'm happy that it's still with me. So I'll put information to Rich's blog down below. If you're in the New England, Rhode Island area, he is a wizard when it comes to repairing and breathing new life into these great machines. Alrighty, so in this machine, I'm going to pour our garbanzo bean water into the machine. Some recipes I read call for actually reducing the aquafaba, heating it up and concentrating it down even more, but this looks pretty thick. It almost has the consistency of egg whites, so I'm going to leave it as is. Next, we're going to add some cream of tartar. This is tartaric acid, and this helps stabilize the foam. We're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of that. Now we're going to begin beating this on medium speed for about 3 minutes, and then we're going to start adding our sugar. So here we go. Oh, Rich also fixed the knob. Remember when that knob broke in the middle of filming? Yes, it has now been fixed. It's been glued together. If this breaks, then we'll kind of deal with that later. But for now, it's working. So very happy with that. Okay, here we go. I always do that. I always forget to plug it in. All right, electricity, here we go. Electrons. Okay, so now that we've whipped this for about 3 minutes, it's gotten very frothy and foamy. Next, we're going to add our sugar. We're gonna add a half a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon at a time, as this is mixing just very, very slowly. And if you're making this completely vegan, then you wanna use unrefined or raw sugar. So it's gonna be a little bit noisy, but we're just gonna do this very slowly. And then once all the sugar is incorporated, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and then beat this for another 5 minutes or until this is nice and stiff. We want nice, stiff peaks, just like you would if you were doing this with egg whites. Alrighty, here we go. Medium speed. Alrighty, so we are finally at stiff peak stage, and I want to show you what that looks like. Look at that. You want that nice little peak on the top of your beater. Look how glossy and shiny it is. It looks just like egg white meringue. Incredible. And I've got a piping bag here, but you could just use a zippered bag and just cut off the corner. So we're going to fill this up into here. I might not even need to do this, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to be making little 2 blob snowmen. I was inspired by an image that I saw from Taste Made Japan. Super cute, and each little snowman is holding a little piece of candy. So I'm going to try doing that. Here's an interesting cultural observation. When you go to Japan, snowmen are depicted as 2 balls, while here in the United States, we usually depict our snowman with 3, a head, a middle with buttons, and then a bottom, 3 balls. But not in Japan, it's always 2 balls. Why? I don't know. Both are equally cute, but I'm going to be doing the 2-baller. So here we go. I'm going to just go here. Oh my gosh, here's his little head. And here's going to be the body. Oh my gosh, so cute already. So let's try that again. And I'm going to make the snowman's... Okay, there we go. So kind of push down on it while you're squeezing. And then you won't get that kind of peaked top. That looks much better. So I'm going to repeat here. This shouldn't spread at all, so you can put them pretty close together. Squeeze and then kind of give a little swirl. Oh my gosh, they look so cute already. Look. Alrighty, 8 little snow people. I use my finger and kind of tap any peaks down. The water helps the meringue from sticking to your finger. I mostly want to do that for the face because the belly, I have other plans for the belly. I want my snowmen to be holding something, so snow people. How about, this looks almost like, look at this candy, it almost looks like a piece of corn or something. I like the idea of holding a little, here, let's put a little gummy right in the middle. And then you can take a toothpick, or chopstick or something, and make little arms for our snowman, snow person, holding something. This would probably be easier with the piping, another piping bag, but I can't be bothered. Alrighty, so I'm going to continue giving the little snow people something to hold on to, and then we'll pop them into a preheated 200-degree oven, and we're going to bake them, or essentially dry them out for 1 hour to 2 hours. And then we'll be back to put little faces on our friends. Alrighty, see you in a little bit. Alrighty, my lovelies, I am back with my little Aquafaba snow people, and they're so stinking cute. They deflated slightly, but still they're poofy and adorable. And I did have to bake these a little bit longer than instructed. It said 1 to 2 hours. Mine took about almost 3 hours to dehydrate. You'll know when they're ready when you touch them, and they'll be firm and dry to the touch. And I also had trouble when I peeled them. Some of my snowmen became decapitated, but I did get some whole ones, so I am pleased with that. Now the last thing we need to do is put some faces on these little snowmen. So I've got an edible marker here. So this can be done several ways. You could use mini chocolate chips. I'm just going to use an edible marker and just draw on little faces. Even though some of these broke, I'm going to be using a little bit of candy melt to kind of glue these back together, and they'll be just fine. So little dot for eyes. Da, 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 da. Ta-da! Now we need a nose. I'm gonna use a mica knife and cut that and make a little nose and just stick that on. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Ta-da! So stinking cute. I love it. I love it. Alrighty, let's go ahead and give one of our snowmen a taste. Itadakimasu. Oh my gosh. Can you hear that? They have the most delightful, airy crunch. They're slightly sweet and vanilla. I don't taste any beans or peas at all. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So much fun and so stinking cute. All right, I'm gonna eat the part with the candy. Couldn't really bite the candy. I love the airiness and the lightness, and then it's a little bit like cotton candy. It just kind of melts and fades away. Absolutely delightful. So delightful. And it's so incredible that it's made out of bean water that we would have otherwise thrown away. Alrighty, my lovelies, thanks so much for watching, and happy holidays. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye!